Thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm Antonio Ayala. I'm the CIO of RISCCO, a company based in Panama but with offices in Costa Rica, Dominican Republic. We are opening right now an office in Trinidad and Tobago to serve all our CARICOM customers and friends. Thank you so much again for joining us this morning. For us, all my team, it's a really pleasure that you join us this morning to, in a very short presentation, to see the results of the 2023 study of the state of the internal audit in CARICOM, Central America, and the Caribbean. Let me just introduce some housekeeping information about this webinar. Let me just start on my camera to see to who you are seeing right now. I'm Antonio, regard from Panama. Today, we have an extraordinary presentation. Just to keep in mind, all the participants will be in mute. This session is going to be recorded to share with other participants that maybe at the last minute couldn't join us this morning. The presentation is just going to take between 40 and 45 minutes. And at the end of your screen, you will see a button of question and answer. You can write down your question at any moment with that button. The agenda of the webinar is a very straightforward agenda. The first point is have a vision of the internal audit function for an extraordinary speaker. Let me present those extraordinary speakers in a few seconds. After that, myself is going to present the result of the study in 15 minutes. And after that, we are going to move forward with some question and answer. Also, we have two very 1-minute survey and question to all of yours. I'm Antonio. I'm the CIO founder of RISCCO. And today with us is Simon Renzi, which is the president of the Institute of Internal Audit chapter of Jamaica. Simon. Good morning, Simon. Thank you for joining us today. I'm really pleasure that you be with us today. The first point of the agenda today is receive to Simon. As I told you, Simon is the president of the Institute of the Internal Audit chapter in Jamaica. Simon is a passionate internal auditor. He's an strong experience on internal auditor. She is has been an internal audit manager, an international internal auditor quality reviewer, and a certified internal audit trainer. As president of the Institute of Internal Auditor Jamaica chapter, she lives her motto, which is progress through sharing, and precisely sharing information, sharing vision, and sharing view of internal audit function in the region. I really pleased to present Simone and let her share their view in terms of their views in how the function of internal audit is moving and where it has to move on. Again, Simone, thank you so much for your time. I will shut down my camera, so all your participant audience today are yours, Simone.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure for me to share with you on this topic, the vision of internal audit, and to learn via RISCCO about what's happening in the CARICOM region as it relates to our internal audit operations. I took part in the survey, and I'm sure likewise many of you would have taken part, and we really anticipate the results with bated breath, because from learning with data, with information, we can make important decisions for the progress of our internal audit departments. So I just want to share with you a bit, as Antonio asked me to share about the vision of internal auditing. It would be remiss of me not to share with you this change, this global phenomenon that is happening in the internal audit world. And that is related to what we call the IPPF transformation that is taking place in internal audit. So just to give you a bit of background about what's happening, since I'm going to share with you the timelines, but since about 2001, what has been happening is that the Institute of Internal Auditors have been doing similar things, doing surveys, getting inputs, and getting information to help us to do what we call transforming the internal audit standards. So in 2021, the research has started, and there was a proposal for a new framework. By 2022, they have engaged stakeholders broadly, about this vision for change and where we want the internal audit to go. In 2023, they revised the framework with some new proposed standards that was put out there, and the public, you and I, were allowed to give our comments, give our views, whether individually, as a chapter, as a corporation. Now, where we are now is that they are now reviewing the comments of the public that is being reviewed in terms of what we would have been saying, based on the standards that they have put out. And so by the end of 2024, all of this will transition into new standards for us as internal auditors. So I'm encouraging you, if you are not aware of what's happening, to get on board. If you want to keep in touch with the changes, if you want to see the vision for 2024, on the IIA site, it's called the IIA.org, there's a plethora of information about what's happening in terms of the new standards. And just like the accountants, just like all the other professionals, our standards are what we live by, and so we have to be aware and awfully with the standards. So I'm just going to do just a quick highlight about some of the changes that will be happening. Okay, so we are used to our standards being called the IPPF, that is the International Standards for the Professional Practice of Internal Auditors, and that's the first change that we'll have. There'll be a name change. And so it will be changed from that to the Global Internal Audit Standards. Because when we go there and we talk about the IPPF, the man on the street, our bosses, the persons that are not internal auditors usually are not clear on what that is. But when this name is will be more globally accepted, easier to understand when we say Global Internal Audit Standards, name will speak for itself. Also, in terms of the structure, while the IPPF will not go away, it is just being restructured in another way, and new elements are being added. So the content of the 6 elements of what we knew as the IPPF, which include the mission, the definition, the code of ethics, the core principles, and so on, will now all be incorporated into the Global Internal Audit Standards, and it will be organized now into 5 domains. And those domains will be the purpose of internal auditing, the ethics and professional areas of internal auditing. There'll be a section now governing the internal audit function, which will focus on the relationship between the board and the chief audit executive. And then there'll be a section for managing the internal audit function and performing internal audit services. And I encourage you to read and get into the details about how these restructuring will take place and what will be happening. But I also want to go into highlighting some changes that we have to understand so we can prepare. And I'm happy the survey will bring this out. Many of us report to an audit committee, and they now will have additional responsibilities that we have to prepare them ahead so that when these new standards are rolled out, they are ready. We are all ready to go in 2024. So in the standards, there's a new governing domain and standards. So the definition of board will be defined in the standards there, and the board's role in governing the internal audit function has been clarified. The board responsibilities related to the internal audit function, which were implied or indirectly stated in the existing standards, are more clearly and directly stated. And these will include responsibilities related to the oversight of the performance of the chief audit executive and the internal audit function. And it will include the requirements for an external quality assessment. So those are areas that we as a part of the internal audit department need to understand, and we need to package that information to get to our boards so that they too can be prepared and ready to be in adherence with the standards as the changes are made. There'll also be new and different requirements for your quality assurance and improvement program. So as managers, as leaders, as chief audit executives, we are aware that there's a quality assurance and improvement program. Well, this now will be defining and qualifying and ensuring that we all understand what is required so that if we are externally reviewed or assessed, if our departments are externally assessed, we would be clear about what should be in our quality assurance improvement program so that we can pass this test with flying colors. Special attention will also be paid to the public sector. So for our public sector auditors, you want to be reviewing these new standards because the public sector will be now defined in the standards glossary, and there'll be new considerations for implementation relating to auditors in the public sector. There will be a glossary that will be giving us more details in terms of definitions. So our key terms, criteria, condition, finding, inherent risk, residual risk, risk tolerance, root cause, which are commonly used in audit, will be defined in the glossary. So you also want to read through those areas and ensure that your manuals, your team understand exactly how these terms are being defined for 2024. Also, as auditors and as professionals, we know that we're bound by ethics and professional requirements. The Code of Ethics has been incorporated into what will be called the ethics and professional domain of the standards. In addition, this domain contains standards on due professional care, professional skepticism, and minimum requirements for continuing professional development. So those of us who are certified internal auditors, who are CIA, we need to be aware of this so that we are keeping up with the requirements for us or continuing professional development so that we don't fall short of maintaining our certifications as certified internal auditors. And the time has gone so much. I have 3 minutes left, but I just want to highlight that overall the aim is that the Global Internal Audit Standard is designed to provide more clarity, to help us as internal auditors to deliver high performance. Each standard will include section describing the requirements for the standard, as well as the considerations for how to implement the standards, right? But the sections are there. There are resources available when you go on the international site, the IIA.org. There are guidelines as it relates to those persons who are now going to be pursuing the CIA certification. The standards now will still apply to your exams in 2024, but after 2024, you will have to perhaps get new material because the new exam will be related to the new standards. So, as we look at the vision for internal auditing, let's look at it bearing in mind that internal audit too is keeping up with the transformation, and we too are in a transformation mode. And I implore us all to get on board, to keep aware as we take a few minutes each week as internal auditors to just read through, to understand, to look at our current manuals, to look at how our department is operating now, and to understand the change that will be required so that we will be ready, we will be on board, and we will be moving with the transformation as our profession takes on a new level for 2024. And that's my encouragement to us all. It is always a pleasure to work with RISCCO, and I too, as an auditor, as chapter president for Jamaica, always available to share, to answer questions, and it has been a pleasure. And I hope you have found this presentation useful. Back over to you, Antonio.
Thank you so much for your time and extraordinary comments. Let me power on my camera again to say hello to everybody this morning and all our CARICOM friends and customers. An extraordinary, many changes and a transition of the new standard for the 2024 is quite important. Now, Jose is going to send a very short survey, just one question, 1 minute, to move forward to the presentation of the result. Jose, can you go ahead?
Yeah.
It's a very short presentation. It's just 1 minute. That's a very formal question that you consider that cybercrime impose a challenge of the internal audit world on these days. Your view is quite important on this, because that is part of the interesting results that we found in this 2023 state of the internal audit function. So a couple of more seconds to move forward. Okay, it's quite clear your opinions in connection with the cybercrime and the risk imposed. You can stop this survey, Jose, and we can move on. The presentation of the results. Let me shut down my video. I'm quite ugly, so you don't need to see me. The important is what I'm going to set. Again, I said I apologize for my not necessarily pretty good presentation, but what is going to be the results of this extraordinary survey? And I really very happy that the participants by regions on this 2023 survey, that's the first one that is going to be, the intention is to perform this survey every single year from now on, from all your help. But for us, it's a really pleasure that 34% of the participants of this survey were from CARICOM, and the rest were from Central America Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. 199 participants, almost 200 are participants for all this region. The employees by organization, I believe that we obtain a very good mix between less of 100 employees and maybe also plus 4,000 employees. And the participant by the organization, you can see to your right, most of them came from financial services, including banks, insurance, and from government, it was 25%. We have some participants from commercial sector, energy, and also from manufacturing and health industry. That is the demographic participation. The survey, the result of the survey are available from this morning in our webpage. It doesn't matter. Tomorrow we are going to share the copy of the survey and also the recording of this webinar. But today, for respect for your time, what we are going to do is only to make and comment to you the executive summary of the survey. And the executive summary includes 4 key conclusions. And the first one, which is a good one, is that despite the usual difficulties that the internal audit unit face today, there are visible signs of desire to strengthen the management among participants. Why? Because 88% said that have an audit committee or similar oversight body, which is good. 26% indicate that staffing increase, and 56% remain at the same of the previous year. That's 26%, whereas we were expecting less. 26% is a good number. Another metric that was impressive to us is that 74% of the participants said that they perform consulting works. And turn understanding consulting work, not assurance or audit works, advisory, training, facilitation, and other. And 65% that said that they are using technology like this one, like Zoom, a Microsoft Teams, or any other, to perform audits. And they said that the audits were generally successful or very successful, which is quite good. Another important thing in connection to the strength management among participants is that the internal audit budget, 35% mentioned that the budget increased. That was another metric that it was impressed for us, because after the pandemic, in most cases, any budget remained as the last year. In the case of the internal audit participant, 35% they said that increase, which is, in our view, is quite good. That is the first key conclusion of 4. The second one is in connection that it is a great challenge to hire professionals with the skill and competencies required to strengthen the management of internal audits. This is making a necessary improve for training strategies and training staff. Regarding the hiring personnel, 58% indicate that they do not find candidates with the required competencies. And 50% said that they also do not find candidates with experience in internal audits. That is a challenge. I was mentioned before with Simone in connection with this. We believe at RISCCO that it was a situation just for Panama and Central American customer. But now this survey confirmed that this is a problem among the internal audit department in all the region. Obtain employees, of staff with competencies to make a good job. 56% indicate that the staff remain at the same, probably because they don't have ability to hire professional with the competencies that they need. And in terms of the training, if you see the top 3 topic of training of last year, the first one was risk-based internal audit trainings. The second one, it was technology audit. And the third one, it was cybersecurity and cyber risk. And maybe the reason behind this is because you, as internal auditor head, if you cannot find in the market auditors with the competencies and skill necessary, what are you going to do? Improve your skills and the competencies of the internal auditor that I have already have. That is what our lecture on this. The third conclusion of 4 is more oriented that the internal audit need to measure the effectiveness in a better way. Internal audits to measure the effectiveness of cybersecurity in the organization is an area that requires significant improvement. Only 25% of the participants indicated that the cybersecurity audits are being conducted effectively. And that is quite worrying, because if you remember, of the total of participants, most of them were from financial services industry and also for government industry. And maybe you are quite clear and you will agree with me that financial services industry and the government are the one that necessarily need to use technology to do their jobs. And 47% indicate that the area of cybersecurity or technology in terms of risk are high or very high. However, that is quite interesting. When we ask to the participant, let me know which are the main audits area for 2023, they said that the first area, in other words, we are going to do a lot of operational audits. It was 72%. Regulatory and compliance, 66%. Audit or financial operational processes, 66%. The number 4, business process audits, 47%. Financial report, the number 5, 54%. And you can see cybersecurity is in the position number 6. That's, for us, is something that we need to improve. Maybe it's because, Antonio, how you expect I perform internal cybersecurity audit if I don't have the internal system or technology auditor? But that is something we need to change, a mindset, because you, as a participant, indicate that the cybersecurity is a top risk for organization. Maybe the 50% of the participants say that. When you see what of the type of audits that we are performing, it doesn't make sense that the cybersecurity is in position number 6. That is the third conclusion. And one here, that is another thing that for us is quite impressive. If you can see in this graph means that this is the amount of employees that the participant they have in the organization. And this is how many auditors in brackets, 1 to 3, 10 to 25 they have. And if you can see, this graphical show the relation between the amount of employees and the amount of auditors. And you can see is in the same way that the number of employees increase, the amount of auditor also increase. which is makes sense. But we asked to the participant, but you know what? Tell me the number of internal technology auditors do you have? And that is something that needs to be also talk about it. Again, this is the amount of employees. This is the amount of internal technology auditor. But if you can see, the average of the internal technology auditor does not increase at the same way that increase the total of internal auditor. And that is not a good sign, because maybe you will agree with me that any organization about 200 or maybe 500 employees is an organization that is going to depend on information technology. And doesn't make sense that in the way that employees increase, the number of internal technology auditors do not increase. In fact, if you can see here, 12 participants having more than 4,000 employees, they said that they don't have internal technology audit. Maybe this is a reason why we are not performing cybersecurity audit, or because we don't have it, the staff with the skill that we need. That is another quite survey. What I'm going to ask Jose that we question move at the end of the presentation, not right now, because I want to move to the conclusion number 4. And the conclusion number 4 of this audit is another one interesting. Internal audit management efficiency among participants can be increased with a greater commitment to adopting data analytics. 61% of the participants indicated that they perform data analytics. Maybe you can think, Antonio, 61% is a good number. But remember that most of the participants are coming from financial services institutions and government institutions. 61% is a number that, from our professional point of view at RISCCO, we believe that appears to be low. Only 26% indicate that they use information technology in internal audit management processes high. What does mean? I use technology for my audit management efficiency, but just 26% they say that is high. And only 7% indicate that the use of continuous auditing, which is different of data analytics, that today also continuous auditing is called data-driven audits, to automatically test controls or identify fraud or errors is high. 7%, that is not a pretty good sign. And when we ask to the participant if they are using to perform continuous auditing or data analytics, are you using artificial intelligence or machine learning techniques or a scan? Only 10%. Only 10% said that they are using artificial intelligence. You know, today we navigate in an ocean of data sets. Most of the controls that we need to test are information technology or information system controls. Doesn't make sense for us that most of the financial services and government institutions or any other organization of the participant mention that they are not using data analytics or continuous auditing in a pretty good way. And I believe that that is one of the key challenges that we need to face from now on. Moving forward, things are changing so fast today. And with all my respect, my background, I'm Antonio, but my background is information system. I spent 20 years performing internal system audit or cybersecurity audits in KPMG, Deloitte, and Pricewaterhouse. and not just in Panama, for all Central America and all the Caribbean. One of the things that we see today is that things are changing so fast. And this is with all my respect to all the auditors that today are with us, is that we need to make a mindset change quickly. Things are changing so fast. Why? What are you seeing is not a movie. Today in China, they are not using fire extinguisher person. They are using drone to fight with fire in buildings. As an auditor, you have to keep in mind that, because at some point, technology or artificial intelligence maybe will move forward, and we need to be prepared for that. Another comment for us, George. Study. Artificial intelligence supported mammogram screening helped doctor to detect 20% more breast cancer cases. I'm not saying that it was a software. It was a doctor with the help of a software. But at some point, maybe the software is going to do the job of the doctor. In fact, it seems that are doing better than doctor with many years of experience. And finally, the Washington Post, that's his news for today. Hospital bosses love artificial intelligence. Doctors and nurses are worried because they believe that at some point in the near future, they are considering to be replaced with software. And the final conclusion is that we believe the results of the survey are quite clear. We are doing a very good things. Oversight, audit committees, and many other things. But in the area of technology and improving the efficiency of the department, using technology, we believe that this is an area that we need to improve. And this image try to express the final conclusion that is that we need to change. I'm not saying that the thing that we are doing right now is wrong. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in addition to that, we need to move quickly to start to use technology to improve the efficiency of the department. Before move to this to the final question that we have, I really would like to hear any comment from Simon in connection our point of view that maybe internal audit departments have to start to understand that if we don't use technology to improve the efficiency of our work, maybe quickly we have to lose our job. Are you there, Simon?
Yes, indeed, I'm here. And Anthony, I want to agree with you. As the world changes, an internal audit is a part of the world. Our services is offered to our entities that are out there. We have to embrace the changes. We have to embrace the changes. We see the changes. I have a son in school, and it's just amazing how quickly he's embracing AI to assist him with assignments and moving on. So we too have to embrace the technology, or we will be left behind. So cybersecurity is affecting us. AI is there, and these changes in our standards also are there to help us to move along. And what we need to do, as you have been saying, is not be afraid, but to take time to embrace the changes so that we won't be left behind.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Simon, for your comments. Before we move forward to the last slide of this presentation, to respect all your time, Jose, can we move forward to the last question to the participants. Is another just one question, 1 minute question. This is in case you want to hear more from us. And in the meantime, you respond as question. As I told you, today, the survey is available in RISCCO.com. If you move forward to the section which is called Knowledge Center, which is this one, you can download the study, of course, in English. In addition to that, tomorrow, maybe in the afternoon, we'll be sending the recording of this survey. And also we are going to share a formal copy in PDF of the formal survey of the results of this study. But if you don't want to wait for us for tomorrow, you can go right away, right now, to our page and download the survey. Final, I have a question here. And maybe this question is for Simon. You mentioned that a transition of new standard for 2024 is going to happen. In those new standards, what are about technology? Is any change about that?
The standards, as I said, what the standards is doing is updating what we currently have. And so in terms of the technology, what it is asking is that we keep abreast of the changes in our environment and be aware of the technology and so on. So I wouldn't say it's guiding us to say we need to go into AI or we need to use X or Y technology, but it is encouraging us to keep up to date with what's happening in our environment.
Excellent. I have another question. This also, I believe, is for you. Why is so difficult find out today internal auditors with the competencies and the skills that we need? What do you think, Simon?
Why is it so difficult to find internal auditors with the competencies and skills that we need? That's the question.
Yeah. Why? Why is so difficult?
I would say that I think what is happening is that for me, being introduced to internal audit was almost by accident. I was not aware that it was such a renowned profession. And so I think that what is happening is that we as the persons in the profession need to be promoting that internal audit is a full-fledged profession with certifications, with training and knowledge. It's a knowledge base, it's an organization out there. And so that is my mandate as a chapter leader. And I would say for my other CARICOM chapter leaders, we have taken on a mandate to promote the profession. In Jamaica now, one of our universities is offering an option for an internal audit degree. Before, you would only have an accounting degree. Now we are pushing so that what is happening is that we as auditors need to be pushing the profession out there, the standards and the benefits that come with being an internal auditor. So I think we are improving, but it's not an overnight thing, but we will get there. And also training is something else we have been pushing to ensure that the skill sets are out there. One of the things with us in CARICOM is that it's expensive to send our auditors to the international body, to US to be trained, or sometimes the training is in the UK and so on. It's very expensive. And so through working with groups like RISCCO, we are trying to bring the training to our audit departments in the Caribbean so that we can have more effective auditors locally available.
Thank you. I have one final question. Not quite sure if Ruben Fernanda is a manager in RISCCO. He is a manager in charge of consulting services for all the information security and all cybercrime issues. Not quite sure if Ruben is with us. I think that's question is from Ruben. Someone is asking, why today the information technology risks are by far more than before? Not quite sure if Ruben is with us.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead, Ruben.
Yeah, it's because of the evolution of all the threats that we are having right now. We have a very strong evolution in all what is technology, and that means also that our threats are in evolution. So right now we have very complex threats. For example, as you mentioned, artificial intelligence, for example, we are just at the tip of an iceberg right now, but that's something that people, even that they don't know nothing about cybersecurity, they don't know nothing about hacking, they can use, for example, artificial intelligence to create phishings, to create ransomware, to create attacks. Artificial intelligence can give you all the commands that you need to put in a software to perform an attack. So that's mean that for newbies, for people even that they don't know nothing about hacking, they have too much tools available to perform attacks and frauds. So that's why right now it's very critical, and all of us need to improve our security measures, because the threats are at the front of the door. So we need to take very, very serious this.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. If the participants have any other question, we have a button in your screen, which is Q&A. You can write down your question, and we will try to respond. But in the meantime, I want to give the thanks to all of yours for keep with us these 15 minutes. But I know that all of you are quite busy, have a quite busy agenda, and taking your time to listen to us is really good to know. And finally, before leaving, I want to again to say thank you so much to Simone for joining us on this webinar. She has been quite busy this day, but she opened time to share their knowledge, their news about the internal audit function for CARICOM. So I will close this webinar with the final word of Simone, and again say thank you to all of you. Simone, final word are yours.
Wow, it's an honor to be able to give the final word to my auditors. And I just want to say to you that you're on the right track, because you have joined this morning this webinar so that you are kept informed. And I just want to encourage us all just to keep informed, keep reading. A lot of information is out there. Ask the questions, seek the help from your chapters in your countries. And as our motto goes in Jamaica, we will make progress through sharing. Thank you.
Thank you to you again, Simone, and thank you to all of you. Have an extraordinary Thursday. Thank you.
Mr. Antonio, there is a question.
We have a question.
Yeah, the question is there a way that the CARICOM auditors can come together to help each other and share knowledge on training?
Not quite sure if Simone
Yes.
can respond this, because she know the region better than I.
Yes. Okay. So as leaders of the CARICOM chapter, we do meet as a body. We had a meeting in July as a CARICOM group, and we are exploring ways of offering training, especially with the advent of Zoom and so on. We are exploring ways of offering training throughout CARICOM so that it will come to our various members at a cheaper rate. So yes, it's something that we have been doing. Keep informed with your chapter, ensure you're on your chapter emails, and you will get the benefit. You will see the benefit of us working together as CARICOM auditors.
Yeah, and that's effort, as Simone said, RISCCO knowledge and experience will be with all of you. Thank you again so much for your time this morning, and have a good Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day.